Hi, this is Denise Mathew, and today I'm going to make a gemstone pendant necklace. It's a simple design, but it's really wonderful because there's a lot of versatility. You could go with the multicolored beads like I did, or just something as simple as the pearls. You could go smaller than that, and it would be much more delicate. You could use crystals, and you can just make one and string it on a necklace, or make a pair of earrings, or make a pair of earrings and a pendant as well. The possibilities are endless. So let's get started. Today I'm working with a 24 gauge wire. You could go up higher to a 22 if you prefer. It's basically whatever gauge fits your beads. So all I'm going to do right now is just do a small little curl on the end. I'm working with about a foot of wire. You may need more or less based on the size of your beads, but this works well to make the pendant for the size beads I'm using, which are 7mm. So all you're going to do is just string on all your beads. Now if you have a pattern, you can just remember that the bottom, most bead will be the bottom of your pattern. Once you have your beads on, you're going to start working at the top of your wire, and you're going to make a wrap loop up there. When you're doing your wrap loop, you're going to leave about a ½ inch of just free wire, and the reason for that is because you need space to be able to wrap between the beads as you're going down the pendant. You're going to go a ½ inch above, do a 90-degree angle to start your wrap loop. To make sure that all your beads are down, pressed against that curl, so you'll have the right amount of space so you can gauge it properly. So I've just made a loop. I'm going to grab hold of that loop and I'm going to start to wrap down, and literally I'm only going to wrap 3 times because I want to leave that space so that the beads can move when I'm trying to wrap down the pendant. I'm just going to push all those wraps together because I want to maximize the amount of space I have, so when I'm wrapping down it's all going to fit properly. So you don't have to count for the first wrap. You're just going to wrap across the bead and then go right down in between the next 2 beads, and you're going to wrap twice. And then after that, you're going to go across the next bead down. Then you're going to wrap 2 again in between the next 2 beads, and then you're going to go down again. And that's a pattern you're going to keep. So when you do count between, you're always usually going to end up on the same side to cross the bead. So then you're going to go across the bead and 2 more wraps in between the next 2 beads. And what you may notice is that when you're wrapping, the wraps may be a little bit loose. You want to keep those tight so you can use your fingers or your pliers to push the wraps together so you won't run out of wire before you finish your pendant. Continue with that pattern, pushing together the wraps as necessary until you come to the bottommost bead. And if the pendant is crooked as you're working, don't worry about it. What's more important is that the wraps are nice and neat and tight, and you can always straighten it later on. So now that I'm down at the last bead, I'm just going to do the exact same thing, wrap twice. And before I go across the bead, I'm just going to take that curl and I'm going to straighten it out a little bit, and that will give me some space to do a couple wraps at the end. So now instead of a curl, I have a little tiny loop at the end. And the reason why I do this is because sometimes when you're wrapping the wire, you might get a little short on it. This always gives you a little leeway to finish the pendant with maybe about 3 or 4 wraps, whatever you want to do or whatever you have space for. And then that would be your completed pendant. And if you prefer, you don't actually have to do the curl in the beginning. You could just do a loop right in the beginning. It's your choice. And now all you have to do is trim back whatever excess wire you have, tuck in any sharp edges, and then you can just straighten it out if it's gotten crooked as you were working with it. And if all the crossover wires are not lined up, you can use your fingers to move them into the place you want them to be. If you want more of a cone on the end of your pendant, you just need to make a bigger loop so you can wrap more times. And now your pendant is ready to string on a chain or put it on ear wires, whatever you prefer. So this completes the tutorial. I hope you liked it. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. We'll see you next time. Thanks for coming. Bye for now.